Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do some subtraction of decimals. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is draw myself a big place value chart. This helps me keep everything very, very organized. Here's my decimal point. And what do I have here? Well, I have my ones, my tens, my hundreds, my thousands. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. On the other side, I have my tenths, my hundreds, and my thousands. So tenths, hundreds, thousands. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my number in my place value chart. So the first number I have is 97 and 4/10. So you can see that I've put everything here. It's also helpful sometimes to say, okay, I have ones, I have tens, and these are my tenths. So that way I make sure I transfer it over into my place value chart correctly. Same thing here, ones, tens, and I have my tenths, I have my hundreds, and I have my thousands. So that always helps me a lot to make sure that I've put them in the right place. Now I'm going to subtract 42 and, well, I see I have a 1 in the tenths place, a 2 in the hundreds place, and a 4 in the thousands place. Now I'm looking and I have a whole lot more decimals in this second number. So I'm going to add those placeholders like we did last week, because remember, this doesn't change the value of the number. All that's doing for me is helping me subtract, because I have to line up my decimals, and it's helping me make sure that I can actually subtract this number. Now, so I'm looking now at my lowest place value, and when I look at my lowest place value, I see that I have 4 in my thousands place, but I have no thousands. So I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to have to regroup. I'm going to my hundreds. I don't have any hundreds to regroup either. So that's going to leave me going to my tenths. So I'm going to take one of these tenths to regroup. Now remember, when I come over here, well, that's going to give me 10 hundredths, because I took 1/10, and remember, I'm going to say that I get 10 hundredths for that 1/10. So now I'm looking and I actually can regroup right here too, because when I look here, I'm like, hey, now I can regroup one of these hundredths, and 100 is going to give me 10 thousandths. But remember, I took one of these away, so I have 9. Because again, I needed some thousandths. I looked at my hundreds, there was none there. So I had to go to my tenths. I took 1/10, regrouped it, exchanged it for 10 hundredths. Then I needed to get 100th to regroup into thousandths, which gave me how I got 9, because I took 1 away from that 10, and I got my 100th, which is 10 thousandths. Now I can do some subtraction. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. Big decimal point. 7 minus 2 is 5. 9 minus 4 is 5. My answer is 55 and 276 thousandths. Now, I always like to estimate to see if this makes sense. So when I look at 97 and 4/10, it's closer to 97 than 98, because 4 is less than 5. So that is 97. When I look at 42, I have 42 and 1/10. So that's much closer to 42 than 43. So we'll say 42. When I subtract 97 minus 42, I get 55. 55 is very close to 55 and 276 hundredths because 55 and 276 hundredths is much closer to 55 than 56. And it totally makes sense that my decimal is right here because I have 55 as a whole number, and 55 is what I got when I did my estimate. So here I have my estimate. Here is my estimate. Here is my actual solution.